I'd like to ask the audience to settle down, and the program will be starting.
Could be like a teacher. Everybody raise their hand.
Hello, my name is Jean Director here at the East Meadow Public Library. If you have not been back to the library since you'll reopen, welcome back. And if you have been here before, welcome back. And we're having problems cutting in and out. And this is why I went first. Play hold music in your head. I was just going to say one quick thing. If anyone wrote their questions on their cards and you're ready for them to be picked up, just raise your hand and someone will come and grab them for you. Okay? Thank you.
Just raise your hand. Okay, so really start coughing. Here you go.
Kill me. One, two, three. Okay? Hi, my name is Jude Shands. I'm the Director of Public Relations at the Programming. I forgot that. At the East Meadow Public Library. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate your library. And I faded out.
I'll put this. Hold that for a second while I get ready.
This is my usual mic. Only when I'm here. Thank you. Hello, guess what I'm going to say? Hello, my name is Jude Shands. I'm the Director of Public Relations and Programming at the East Meadow Public Library, and I want to welcome you back to the library. Thank you for being here and being so supportive. I have to do a little housekeeping before I turn this over. I forgot what that was. Oh, I'm going to ask you all to turn off your cell phones or put them on mute. We've got microphones all over the place, and everybody will hear your conversation throughout the district and further. This program is being streamed on our private YouTube page for the library. People can access the code on our website. I just want you to be aware of that, so if you stand up in front of the cameras, you can be seen. The doors are stage right, downstage left, and up in the back of the house if you need to access them. That's all my that's it. I'm done. Pretty good, huh? I want to thank the League of Women Voters and the PTA of East Meadow for bringing this here to us. This is an important program. I'm now going to hand it over to Kelly, not Barbara, Kelly Jones.
Hi, everyone. If everyone could stand up for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My name is Kelly Jones. I am the treasurer of the East Meadow PTA Council. The East Meadow PTA Council would like to welcome all of you tonight here for the Candidates Forum 2022. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters who are here helping us be the moderators, the timekeepers, and collecting the questions. Thank you to the East Meadow Library for accommodating us tonight. This was great. I'm glad we were able to do it here and not you know, like last year when it was remote, right? So don't forget to vote on May 17th. And now Barbara Epstein will be here, and she will introduce everybody.
Thank you, Kelly. And the library, of course. Welcome to this evening's Candidates Forum for the East Meadow Board of Trustees. We have with us, I have a timekeeper, Mary, who is our timekeeper right here. And we have two people who you will bring your cards to over on this side, please. Okay. The League of Women Voters is a national, political, but nonpartisan organization. The League never supports candidates, and in keeping with our nonpartisan policy, the moderator and timekeeper or any of our staff are not residents or stockholders in this election. All are welcome to join the League of Women Voters. It's not for women only. I'm going to introduce the candidates and the procedures that all of them have agreed to. And I apologize again if I mess up the names. And we will use first names with the approval of the candidates. Jensen Albakken, Jody Luce, Matthew Melnick, Rosario Symes, Sharon Suke, and Nancy Woodman.
Barbara, I'm sorry, I just want to put the questions and the cards. We're going to have them raise their hand and we'll pick them up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please. And please make sure it's in the form of a question. It's for all of the candidates, nothing specific. And all of the candidates will have the opportunity to answer all of the questions. I said the procedures what have been agreed to. The moderator is a member of the League of Women Voters from outside the district. Candidates' opening statements will be given in alphabetical order. Each candidate will be allowed 3 minutes for an opening statement. After all candidates have spoken, moderator will have questions from the audience. They've been submitted by you this evening and reviewed by a member of the League. Each candidate will be given 1.5 minutes to answer each question. The time may be a little bit longer depending on the length of the question, but we will try very hard to keep to that time frame. I will rotate the order of the responses for each question. I said, member of the League is a timekeeper and will hold up a sign when the candidate has 30 seconds remaining and when they are to stop speaking. Candidates will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. And we will do in reverse order of the opening statements. The use of props, charts, or visual, or the distribution of campaign literature is prohibited. And we will now begin with opening statements. Jensen.
Thank you, and good evening. My name is Jensen Almagen, and I am running for a seat on the East Meadow School Board. I first want to take this opportunity to thank the East Meadow PTA Council and the League of Women Voters for coordinating this event. I also want to thank the East Meadow Public Library and staff for hosting us. A little bit about me. I've been a member of the East Meadow community for about 15 years now. My wife and I have 2 children who go to school in the district. My daughter, a freshman at Clark High School, and my son in 6th grade at Clark Middle School. Our family is a member of the Clark PTA, and I have had the privilege to help coach and volunteer in some of our children's extracurricular activities. I've been an attorney for 20 years, having spent the majority of that time in public service positions, and now recently starting my own practice. I am running because I think we can do better for our children. My vision for the school district includes a stronger partnership with parents and teachers, raising student achievement, and increased accountability. I believe we need clear and measurable goals with performance indicators that are reviewed often. First, clear lines of communication between the school board and the community should be a priority. This requires a board to be able to provide not only how they connected with, but how they listened to the community. I believe a board should solicit feedback from the community early and often, being proactive rather than reactive. Some ideas include parents being invited to observe working sessions of the board, forming advisory panels that include the parents, and keeping parents apprised of the curriculum. Second, we need to raise our standards for student achievement. U.S. News and World Report ranked both Clark and East Meadow High Schools as number 149 and number 218, respectively, in New York State. There is a lot of room for improvement here. 30% of their methodology is based on college readiness. I would form a panel with our parents, teachers, and community members to see in what areas we are lacking and make recommendations for district policies to make our students competitive for university study or any career path they choose. What prevents us from being in the top 10% of Nassau County? Third, there should be no confusion over the appropriate roles for a board member and its superintendent. A board should understand its role in establishing policies targeting high student achievement, while the superintendent is responsible for the day-to-day operations that should be tied to a high degree of accountability. Finally, we live in a diverse community with increased minority enrollment in our schools. The school board has never had an elected minority member on its board, and I believe it's time we should reflect that diversity in our school board. It is an opportunity to bring new perspectives and the opportunity for all our community to feel that their voices are heard. I look forward to the rest of this evening and the ability to share more of my vision for the district. Thank you.
I remember a 3-minute opening, please. Okay. Jody?
Hello. Good evening. I'd like to thank the East Meadow PTA Council for sponsoring this event and the League of Women Voters for mediating this forum, and thank you to the library for hosting. And thank you all for watching and listening. My name is Jody Luce. I've lived in East Meadow for almost 20 years. I am a clinical and school psychologist in another Nassau County school district where I am in my 21st year. I've also had a private practice prior to my time on the Board of Education. My son Joshua attends East Meadow High School, and my daughter Sophie attends Woodland. I've been involved in the PTA, chairing committees, and have volunteered for my synagogue and other community organizations, as well as with organizations within the community where I work. I am a nature lover, an animal lover, a crafter, and an avid reader, and I love my community. I became interested in contributing to our school district community when my son was receiving CPSE services. I remember sitting at a CPSE meeting and asking two things: why we didn't have full-day kindergarten, and why we didn't have a wider range of services, including co-teaching services for all elementary age students. Fast forward a few years, and I helped with 2 other mothers to form the group East Meadow Parents for Full-Day Kindergarten. We worked together with the community to pressure the board and superintendent at the time to allow the community to vote, and I am proud to say that my daughter attended the first year of full-day kindergarten in East Meadow. I decided to pursue a seat on the East Meadow Board of Education in 2019 and have served as a trustee since July of the same year. During my term on the board, much has been accomplished. We have worked together to bring a device to every student so that they were able to continue learning in a time of crisis. We have been able to work with the community to bring a multi-purpose turf field to each high school, and we have been able to get through an extremely difficult time in our history and come out of it knowing that we put our children first. And we did so by remaining true to our oaths, following laws and mandates, and not jeopardizing our state aid. We have improved many of our facilities and expanded our outstanding academic programs while remaining fiscally responsible and remaining under the tax cap every year. We will continue doing so by expanding our co-teaching program to allow every student who needs the program to attend their home school with their friends and neighbors. I am extremely proud of what we have done and hope to continue the forward momentum for the next 3 years. I bring my experience as a psychologist, an educator, as a passionate community advocate and volunteer, and someone who understands the nuances of this extremely important job. Thank you.
Matthew?
Thank you. I would like to thank the PTA Council for all their planning, the League of Women Voters for moderating, and the East Meadow Public Library for hosting this forum. My name is Matthew Melnick, and I'm running for re-election to the East Meadow School District Board of Education. I'm the parent of 3 children who attend schools in our district. I was elected to this board for the first time 6 years ago, when the district was just beginning to move away from what can only be described as stagnant. The district's administration and board were not seeking out ways to be more fiscally responsible. We're not working to increase student achievement. Actually, it was the opposite, with a lack of parent choice to opt out of state exams and a policy during the administration of those exams of sit and stare. Furthermore, transparency was non-existent. I knew I wanted to get involved and try to make a difference for the children and taxpayers of our community. In my first year as a trustee, I was involved with the passing of the bond that addressed the aging infrastructure of our buildings and fields, including the construction of a new sports facility at the Salisbury Center for Clark. I pushed the board and administration to increase transparency of the district, which came to a head when I learned and brought to the community's attention that some board members at the time were conducting meetings without informing other board members. My second year, I focused my efforts on fiscal responsibility. I requested that the board review all contracts that had not been put out for bid in over 5 years. What we found was that there were a number of contracts that had not been put out for bid in over a decade. This was not acceptable. As financial stewards of the taxpayers' funds, it is incumbent upon the board to make sure the district is seeking the best possible contracts. I had and have no issue with the vendors who had these contracts, and the truth of the matter is, some of those same vendors won their respective bids and continued to work with the district, but at least the community had the knowledge that such contracts were the best possible terms. My third year turned to an issue that I had spoken about during my campaign, and that was to provide the community an opportunity to decide how the Board of Education elections would be conducted. Previously, this had been a per-seat system, where the challenging candidate would select a sitting board member they would run against. My problem with such a system is that if a sitting board member does not have a challenger to their seat, there is nothing making them answer for what they have done or not done during their term in office. I believe that, as a representative of the community, a board member should have to answer to the people they represent. At the start of my second term, after listening to the desires of community members and hosting a number of forums on the topic, I led the board in bringing a proposition to the community that allowed taxpayers to approve the reopening of the bond that brought turf fields to both high schools. Last year brought about the pandemic, and it changed to how education is provided to students. Within the year, this district became a one-to-one district, meaning every single student was provided with an electronic device. This year, the board continued to push to educate more of our students within their home schools and build upon the integrated co-teaching program that we had initiated in the middle and high school levels, and bring this integrated co-teaching program to every single grade in every single building in our district. I am proud of these accomplishments over the last 6 years, including increasing academic achievement and outcomes, upgrades to our infrastructure, and becoming more fiscally responsible and transparent to our community, and so much more. I look forward to the opportunity to continue this work, and start making this district better for our students, taxpayers, and community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ariel?
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to my neighbors, friends, and family for their support in this election. Thanks to the East Meadow PTA Council and the League of Women Voters for holding this candidates forum. My name is Rosario Symes. I am running for the School Board of Education to represent you, parents, children, and taxpayers of East Meadow. I want to share some of my life story. I'm originally from Peru, Lima, Peru. Assimilating to the American culture, learning a new language, and adapting to a new environment was a significant challenge for me. This country gave me the opportunity to accelerate and help me to accomplish my goals so far. I completed my education, and I am extremely proud to call myself American. I am married for 23 years with my dear husband, Keith. We have 3 children. My older daughter, Maddie, is finishing her master's degree program, going to law school this fall. My middle daughter, Mandy, is studying biochemistry, and my younger son, Keith, studying business economics. Unfortunately, with this pandemic, our children got dramatically affected, losing opportunities for educational, emotional, athletic, and social growth. I want to contribute to your children's educational development through my successful education experiences. Support and understanding are the key. My motto is, the beautiful thing about learning is another one we can take away from you. If I get elected, my goal will be to help this board incrementing opportunities that will end in accomplishment for the students. My goal will be to help implementing solutions to issues that are important to you, parents, students, and taxpayers. I will help to restore parental partnership, identify myself with every parent. Our children's educational journey starts here. Preserving the quality of public education is extremely important. As a board member, I will follow the state requirements, attending to every workshop, webinars, and trainings to prepare myself and learn about governance to fulfill my duties 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You were way too fast. Now, she did not go over. We were timed.
Okay.
Sorry. Fair is fair. Everybody should have 3 minutes.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Okay, please continue.
Okay. So I will start up. As a board member, I will follow the state requirements, attending to every workshop and webinars and trainings to prepare myself and learn about governance to fulfill my duties 100%. I will bring real communication to our board meetings. Let me be the bridge between board members, teachers, parents, and students for the welfare of our community. I want to be your voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Sharon.
Good evening, East Meadow family. I would like to start off by thanking the library, East Meadow PTA Council, and the League of Women's Voters for having this event tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sharon Soki, and I am excited to be running for the East Meadow Board of Education. I have been a 15-year resident of East Meadow. I moved here from Cupertino, California, where I graduated from the University of California, Berkeley, majoring in international economic policy while being an academic All-American athlete playing field hockey. After graduating, like many, I was faced with the infamous, now what? My father immediately told me, go into computer programming. But my mother, who was in special education for over 20 years and recently retired, said, maybe you should go into teaching. And I tried, and I fell in love. I fell in love with the aha moment, the look in the face of the children. I fell in love with the confidence that makes them stand a little bit taller when they got it. I graduated from Santa Clara University with a master's in education and wrote my thesis on critical thinking in middle school mathematics. Currently, I am an intervention teacher in a neighboring district working with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, addressing the unfinished learning from the past couple of years. Since arriving in East Meadow in 2007, I have become very involved in the community. Having 2 children in the district, McVeigh and Woodland, I have a keen interest in seeking ways to improve student achievement and successes. I have served on the McVeigh PTA board and am the immediate past co-president, serving on multiple committees through McVeigh PTA and East Meadow PTA Council. I'm an active member of the East Meadow Kiwanis Guru Nanak's Kitchen, the Indian Women's Forum, and I'm a fundraiser for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, American Heart Association, and the American Red Cross. Being a public educator myself, I am aware of the importance of public education in shaping the lives of our children. I'm committed to the well-being and success of every child in this district. I have been an active member of the Access and Curriculum Committee for the past 7 years, and I'm currently serving as the co-chair of the committee. I have advocated for the importance of mental health and social and emotional learning in the district. I'm also a member of the School Counselor Advisory Council, where I make my contribution as a parent. I strive to stay up to date on education policy, news, and issues so that students and parents alike can continue to be prepared for their future. With my passion, perspective, personal and professional experiences, I am hopeful that my insight and impartiality will enable me to contribute to strengthen the capacity as a board so the best possible decisions can be made for the students and school community in East Meadow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nancy?
Good evening. My name is Nancy Widman, and I'm a candidate for the East Meadow Board of Education. I'd like to thank the East Meadow PTA Council, the League of Women Voters, and the East Meadow Public Library for hosting this candidates forum. I was born Nancy Geist. My younger brother Jeff and I attended the East Meadow Public School System from kindergarten through our graduations from East Meadow High School. My parents moved to East Meadow from Queens in 1952. For most of my life, I've lived in East Meadow, and I am the proud mother of 4 successful children, all graduates of the East Meadow School System. I have 9 beautiful grandchildren. My husband Jeff and I have been married for the past 14 years. My career path was exciting, spanning 30 years in the radio and television industries. Since 2018, I'm employed by the town of Hempstead. Studies have proven that sustained high-quality early education has a long-lasting impact on educational attainment, employment, health, truancy, and criminality. I was an active and ardent supporter of East Meadow's full-day kindergarten program, addressing the Board of Education in person and in writing, and distributing flyers at my own expense throughout my neighborhood requesting their support for the budget. I am passionate about our community and our children's education. Our bright young minds are East Meadow's future leaders. It is the school board's responsibility to administer quality education, fostering a solid partnership between administration, teachers, parents, and the children. Unfortunately, our current Board of Education has failed us in this respect, and parents are angry. It's time for a change. The basics, reading, writing, math, science, and history are all paramount in creating a solid foundation so our children grow to be successful and productive adults. Parents teach their personal morals and values at home. You have the right to know what and how your children are learning at school. The pandemic had an impact on all of our children at every level. Children, teachers, and parents alike were frustrated. Many fell behind. Healthy interactions with schoolmates and friends ceased. Hybrid learning wasn't one size fits all. We need to be prepared for the event we experience another lockdown and use all available resources for our children and teachers. A mother who tragically lost her son to suicide asked me to please look into suicide prevention programs to offer parents and their children, and I will. We can and we will do better, offering and providing every educational opportunity available to our children. I will have an open-door policy, and I will not vote in favor of any policy that infringes on your parental rights. And I will make certain your tax dollars are spent wisely and efficiently. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you this evening, and I look forward to serving this great community.
Thank you. All right, just to let everyone know a couple of points. One, our plan is to finish the questions around 8:20. Just to let you know in advance, this is our planned schedule. And that there are 3 seats for Board of Education. So those are your choices. All right, we will begin. First question. And everyone will have the opportunity for 1.5 minutes to answer each question. What, in your opinion, are the roles and responsibilities of a Board of Education trustee? Jensen?
Thank you. I believe that a school board trustee, their role and responsibility, and I mentioned this in my opening, is to set high goals for high student achievement. We need to set district policies, working with parents, teachers, and staff to make sure that our children are getting the proper resources that they need. They need to have a vision for the community, for the district. And the superintendent, he has the job to implement the day-to-day operations for that. So having a strong vision for the community, that's the role of a board member.
Thank you. Jody?
Thank you. So there actually are a lot of misconceptions about what the roles and responsibilities of a school board trustee are. In fact, by law, it is fiscal oversight, it is policymaking. We are responsible for ensuring that the laws of the state, the New York State guidelines, and the curriculum and the policies of the district are followed. We only become involved in things like personnel or other things like that when there are legal or disciplinary procedures. All of our working sessions are observed. That is how we practice. We do not get involved in individual buildings' decision-making, and in fact, it's considered overstepping if we do. So to reiterate, our roles and responsibilities are fiscal oversight, policy-making, and ensuring that the laws of the state, the New York State guidelines, and the curriculum and the policies of the district are followed. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew?
Thank you. So as Dr. Luce was saying, yes, the board's obligations are to set policy, to make sure that New York State law state education law are being followed, as well as to be stewards of the budget and the taxpayers' dollars. The board has a single employee. We are not employers of everyone in the district. We are an employer only of the superintendent. It is up to the superintendent to run the everyday runnings of the district. It is up to us to make sure that that district is being run pursuant to the policies which we have set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rosario?
Well, the school board function, right, it should be setting the district's direction and performance-based goals, which is this current board is not doing. Also ensures alignments in the strategies, resources, and including the approve of budget, policies, and programs, which I don't see. Conduct a performance evaluation on a superintendent. That's what should be one of the highlighted functions that the board should be doing. Then actually it's not following. We're missing, we lack of a lot of improvement. We have to implement new policies and new programs in our school district. And this is exactly why I'm running. I want to implement new policies to help our children's education, because that's exactly what I care about. I am here because I care about your children's education. Please consider what I'm saying. These current board members are not doing the right job for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon?
So school boards are subject to the requirement of existing law and are the governing and policy-making bodies for schools in their district. They support a healthy school district, the culture for work and learning, develop a budget and present it to the community, aligning district resources to improve achievement, maintain strong ethical standards, approve collective bargaining agreements, and build the district's progress through continuous improvement. So those are the roles and responsibilities of a board member.
Thank you. Nancy?
Along with fiscal responsibility, passing a budget that's transparent to all the taxpayers, providing the education to the students, following the state laws, of course, but one of the biggest things that the Board of Education must do is communicate with the community, and that is paramount. The community must trust the board members, and we owe it to our children, and we owe it to our taxpayers, we owe it to our community to be open and transparent.
Thank you. Next question. Begin with Jody. What specific enhanced academic and social opportunities do you propose for students?
Sure. One of the things that is of paramount importance is continuing the academic advancements of our students. And some of the ways that we have done that is by expanding our college and career readiness programs, our AP and our career-driven programs. We have, I'm sorry, the second half of the question, I'm sorry, and mental health, you said? Social emotional, okay. So we have, in terms of the social emotional piece, we have our partnership with Northwell Health. We are continually hiring and expanding our social emotional staff in order to meet the needs of our children, particularly in the aftermath of the pandemic, where so many have suffered socially and emotionally. As an example, just last week, the high school had mandatory programs where all grades, all children, had to attend a workshop that focused on depression, mental health, and drug use. And in terms of the curriculum, we have, sorry, I made some notes. We have continually focused on both career readiness. We have focused on making sure that we are doing whatever we have in our power to meet the needs of children who have suffered academically. We've put our CARES Act funding toward that by hiring new AIS teachers for math and sorry, am I done? Okay. Math and English, sorry.
Yeah. Matthew,
Can you do me a favor and just repeat the question for me, please?
what specific enhanced academic and social opportunities do you propose for students?
Excellent, thank you so much. So one of the things that I'm very proud of is in each of my years that I've been a board trustee, we have increased the number of college-level classes that are available for all students within our district, both at Clark and East Meadow High School. And that includes partnerships with local universities, as well as AP placements and AP classes for students who may obtain college credit as they move into college. However, college isn't necessarily the right path for every single one of our students, and we have had a push over the last number of years, and truthfully started before I was on the board, for also having the availability of work-related classes for students to learn and move into the workforce after graduating from our high schools. We hired a director of guidance 2 years ago, which has been an incredible asset to our district, especially seeing as it came in a time of the pandemic where social, emotional health were really at the forefront and continued to be at the forefront of our district. Additionally, for this year in the upcoming budget, we are introducing additional social workers, especially to our elementary schools, so that they can service those students more thoroughly as well.
Thank you. Rosario?
Well, I have great ideas. I know the term is short, but I would like to just emphasize that I would like to implement small presentations in the classroom, which is the students speaking up in front of the class, just for telling about experiences about the day before, or example, whatever they go through the day, because this will help to be comfortable speaking in public, will improve their communication skills, and reinforce respecting others' opinions. I would like introduce life skills. High school graduates, sometimes they finish school not knowing how to manage a credit card, or how to balance a checking account, or even to file taxes. Through these positive programs, we can help teachers, parents, and guardians to set young students to the right path for real world, implementing training with resource kits, which is how to resolve conflict resolutions in daily life, and also drug prevention, bully programs. I would like to just implement that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon?
So currently we have a lot of AP academic programs, one of which is the capstone program, which gives the student a choice to choose a topic and research on it, present on it. And basically they have full authority over their own learning within this topic, and in addition they get college credits for that. One other program that we have currently is it's an AP language program where a student who may speak another language at home, say Spanish, and is taking French or Italian in school, they are actually able to get the graduating PIN for the language that they're speaking at home after they go through a process of letting the director know that they can and can speak and communicate in that language as well. We can always have more STEM and STEAM programs in this day and age. In addition, our students need to be good decision makers, informative evaluators, problem solvers, critical thinkers, and excellent communicators. And these are the skills that the world is demanding, and so whatever we can do to enhance those skills, we should be doing.
Okay. Nancy?
Yes, the world has changed, and we need to prepare our students when they leave school. Not everybody's college material. I would say I would like to see more trade courses offered. We need plumbers, we need electricians, we need them. Not everybody wants to go to college to be a professor. So with these trades, they'll be able to make a living, they'll be able to become successful adults. I would also like to see more I'm sorry. I would like to see, like as Rosario said, you know, let's see how to balance a checkbook. Let's see how to manage our finances, to make our children truly independent when they leave our nests.
Thank you. Vincent?
Yes. You know, when I saw the U.S. News and World Report ranking our district so far below in Nassau County, I was disappointed. I think our district is a lot better than that. I think our teachers and our students are a lot better than that. And so I really want to take a look at what's going on for our academic procedures. I want to increase the breadth of college curriculum, encourage more AP classes, and encourage the students to actually take them, and a dedicated STEM advisor in each school. I'd like to see more of our students in the Regeneron competition every single year, multiple students, not one here and there, but multiple students. And another point of that ranking, and I'm not all about the rankings, I'm all about, you know, individual students is very important, but it's a good indicator too. And one of their categories is underserved student performance. It evaluates how a district serves underserved groups and how they score on state assessments compared to non-undeserved students among the same in the same state. So it's closing that gap. How well our district closes that gap is also part of it. As far as social, COVID took a large toll on our students and our social health, and unfortunately sometimes students are turning to things that are unhealthy for them. So I encourage more programs to get students and parents involved in alternate activities that get them out of the house, get them more into other programs, and get them more in sports, get them more into other activities that get them in front of interacting with other students.
Thank you. The next question, begin with Matthew. It's combinations of pieces to it. What are your thoughts on the current and proposed budget? Are you in favor of it as it stands? If not, be specific on line items detailed as your position, and what are your budget priorities? Let me give you a little extra time because there's many pieces to that.
Thank you. So the budget process is one of the most important processes that the board undertakes every single year. The board process starts almost immediately after the budget vote at the end of each May cycle. I do support the budget this year. In my 6 years on the board, we have yet to pierce the cap of that 2% cap, and actually in many of the years, we've come in below what the max amount was of which we could issue a levy for. This year's levy is 1.4%, where the max cap for all district, or the max cap, as you know, is 2%. So we're well below that. Much of the funds that are coming in this year, thankfully, are from both the state and the federal government. The state is finally fully funding foundation aid, which is what is permitting us to, in 1 year, start the integrated co-teach program in every single elementary school, in every single grade that we have in our district. So yes, I do support the budget. I think we have put forth, or the district has put forth, a very responsible budget for our community, and I believe our community has been thankful and supportive of that through the years, and I truly hope they do the same this year.
Thank you. Rosario?
Well, I would like to just know how much you know for being part of the board member for so long. I'm not a board member yet, so I would like to be in the same position as Matthew, you know, knowing and expressing myself so much about the budget. The only thing I can say about the budget is that I know that on April 8th, right, 2022, the state passed a budget of $1.2 million. Okay, the budget I know is for $54 million, and our capital reserve comes from the state and federal. I cannot agree with the tax levy because I know the tax levy is being requested before the budget get approved, because that's how it is. The tax levy is still you have to incorporate it on the fall, but just to be they approve the budget in April, so you just get the real amount by April. that's what I can say about of the tax levy. I don't really support the increment because that's something that we already having a number with.
Thank you. Sharon?
Before I start with my answer, I just want everyone to know that under the East Meadow District website, under the BOE link, there is a budget link where you can have access to all of the presentations, all of the numbers, all of the details from that link, so it is transparent. I agree with the budget this year, and the fact that it is 1.4 under our tax levy is wonderful. We have to understand that most of our budget goes towards our educators, and our educators are who are teaching our children. And when we have amazing educators, we have children who succeed. We have children who learn. So most of that is going towards our teachers. Our budget is representative of our educational plan. So that's what this year, it's great.
Thank you. Nancy?
I've always supported the school budgets. I don't think I've ever voted down a school budget. It's very important that our school budget address all the needs of all of our children. It's also very important that we have full transparency on every line, every item of the budget. There was something that I was looking for in the budget, and that was our superintendent's raise, which was quite large. I was unable to find the exact line in that budget that covered his raise. But our budget needs to cover everything that our children need, but we also need the transparency. We don't want anything hidden that we can't find.
Thank you. Jensen?
I also support the school budget. I believe it's important and critical for our schools to function. This year we got one of the largest increases in aid from the state and the federal level, and the tax levy should be low because of it. And my issue isn't really with the budget and the specific line items which are allocated well. It's reducing waste. I was at Clark High School the other day, and I've noticed they have 2 football fields, one of them not being used. So that means there's 4 goalposts. And I'm not really sure how that came about, why they're not using the field, why it's just completely there, but it costs a lot of money, and it's being unused. There's not a turf field there, and it's just kind of there. Money was used. It was in the budget, probably good for good purposes, but again, it was no locker rooms attached to it. And it was just, an example of waste, and I hope that doesn't happen in this year's budget.
Thank you. Jody?
Okay, so I would like to reiterate that the line item budgets are available on the website. We've worked since last spring to start prioritizing and have slowly but surely and very systematically developed a responsible budget that leaves us at a tax levy of 1.4%, which is far below the limit of 2%. We have I think it's important to note that our revenue is driven by taxes plus aid from the state, and that the vast majority of our budget is driven by programs and contractual obligations. Regarding the field, I think it's important to note that that second field was voted on by the community and was not determined by the board. In terms of priorities, I think it's fair to say that I am in favor of the budget this year, but in terms of priorities, we need to continue to remain fiscally responsible while ensuring that our students have expanded programs for progress and success. We need to continue to improve our infrastructure to set us up for long-term money and energy-saving opportunities. Some of the things that we've done are the roof and electrical plant repairs under the bond, which will set us up for solar, which is a long-term money-saving opportunity. We've improved our internet access. We've improved in terms of our academic, social, emotional, and one-time improvement done by the CARES Act. For example, the screens on the window. That's not an ongoing expense, but it's something that our children, particularly my daughter who's afraid of bees, we're very, very grateful for. So I think I'm done.
Thank you. All right, next question. Rosario, we'll start with you. What can you do to have an open communication with parents and community members? Rosario?
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. I believe that the biggest issue right here in our school district is communication. We lack of communication, yes, you're right. Parents and board members, teachers, and students don't have that connection. It's really sad to watch. Then our town members don't listen. They're not a great listeners. And that's a really big problem because we have to work as a team. In order for our district to grow and progress, and we have to set up as an example, starting right there, the house, which is the school board members. We have the responsibility to give the right and the properly attention to every parent's concerns, teachers' concerns, students' concerns. We should increment our communication, and instead of lacking or excusing ourselves every time the board members being questioned. Let's be open, let's be truthful. That's the way I'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon?
Currently, we do have a lot of councils and forums and committees within the district which involve students, parents, and educators, administrators alike. There can always be more. There can always be more of these sessions that are perhaps open to more people. I found out about most of these through PTAs, and so a lot of people who maybe aren't involved with other community organizations may not hear about these particular councils and forums and groups, but there are a lot currently. As I stated, I'm on a few of them currently as well. But we can always have more open communication and work on having more of these committees so that more parents can also add their opinions to it. Thank you.
Okay. Nancy?
I'm sure you all remember the saying, what we have is a failure to communicate. And that's exactly what we have right now. Parents are frustrated. They feel they can't communicate with the board. The board is not speaking, is not answering their needs. And what I would like to do is to bridge that gap. I would like to form forums in each school where one board member goes to each school and meets with each group, brings back the concerns to the board, they discuss it, and then come to the board meeting, and this way we can have peace, quiet, calm discussions instead of problems and frustrations. And that's what I would do.
Okay. Jensen?
So communication, this is the single largest complaint among our parents and community right now, and it comes up constantly. Frequently we hear the saying, we hear you, or we acknowledge you. And then nothing really happens after that. So high-achieving school districts show how they connect and how they listen to the community. And what I would suggest is actually taking these questions and treating it as, say, a ticket. If you get it from like a customer service, follow the ticket through. What department does it have to go to? Is there a complaint? Follow it through, come back with an answer, not just to that specific person, because it could be valuable to the entire community or a group of parents that actually had the same question. So we could post the question, post it online, not just bring it up at the next meeting, but we can share it with others so that others can benefit from that. Thank you.
Thank you. Judy?
So I will acknowledge that communication is a work in progress, and one of the things that we have attempted to do, for instance, is to improve the email system. Earlier in my term, there were a few different email addresses, one of which was an outdated address that people were using. So one of the things that Ms. Baruch, our president, has done is that she has made an effort to make sure that, or she set it up so that all emails from that old address are now forwarded automatically to our new address so that we're not missing anything. And so that is a work in progress, and we have done a much better job since that time. When questions are sent to the board, we answer them. When questions are brought forth to our meetings, because all of our work sessions are in public, when questions are brought forth, if it is something that requires us researching and getting back to an answer because we want to be factual in our responses, we may do that. It happened last night at the budget hearing. One of our community members had a question. I wrote it down. I emailed it to Dr. Card to ensure that he got back to him. This is always a work in progress. When emails are sent to Dr. Card, he may not always respond. He may forward it to the person who is best equipped to respond to that. So you may not always get a response directly from him, but you'll get it from the person who is most in the know. We continue to work on our communication. We continue to work on our communication both ways with the community. It's important to be respectful and kind in doing so. Thank you.
Matthew?
Thank you very much. So communication is something that you can always improve on, no matter what. And I can say the communication that the Board of Education has now as compared to 6 years ago is a 180 from where it was. However, improvement can always be done. I think it's important to note that our board meetings, as Dr. Luce said, are meetings of the board in public. No other government or quasi-government group is required to have their meetings in public. And that's why the state years ago had the 3 men in a room, right, who made all the decisions. We don't have that in the Board of Education. We have all of our meetings and all our discussions in front of everybody. Now, that doesn't mean that when people come to us that it's time for a debate or a back and forth. It's time for us to listen to you. And I can promise you, we do listen. There is no question. However, it should also be noted that not doing what you want necessarily means we're not listening. It just means that we're not going in that direction, or maybe that doesn't work for every student in our district or the majority of the students in our district. We have 7,000 plus students. What's right for some are not right for everybody. And I know over the last 2 years especially, I've had to make decisions as a school board member that might not have been best for what my kids needed or wanted, but it was best for what was for the 7,000 plus students, plus the teachers and administrators in our district.
Okay. Now, it's interesting. This is somewhat of a follow-up to that. And if you feel that you've already answered that, we can pass on. But the question is, how would you handle parental concerns brought up at board meetings? And we'll start with Sharon.
So, handling parental concerns at board meetings is a tricky topic. As when board members are listening to whatever the parents have to say, like Matt just said, we may not have an answer or we may not be able to respond to that question as it may not be in our purview to do so, okay? So we also, when listening to things from parents, listening to concerns and questions from parents, have to listen and then go back and see who would be best equipped to answer those questions. So to ensure that the correct answer is being given to the parents of this community. Thank you.
I think when parents come with concerns to the board meetings, they're finding a condescending attitude, and they're not feeling that they're getting the answers that they want. They're kind of being sloughed off. This is something that is a problem and has been voiced to me on many, many occasions, and I've witnessed it myself. Each parent, each taxpayer, what they're saying is important to them and must be addressed with respect. I do agree that the taxpayer and the community member must also be respectful. I do believe in respect, but I do understand the frustrations. So I think a little understanding on both sides would definitely go a long way.
Okay, thank you. Jensen?
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty, to me, it's not a very complex issue. It's listening, and listening with empathy. I mean, these are folks that are talking about their children, and it's a very serious issue for them. So that's the first thing, is listen with an empathetic ear, and number two, follow through. And follow through carefully. Make sure make sure their concerns are at least heard well, and explain, if it's not the answer that they're looking for, explain to them why. Explain to them how the process of thinking was developed, and for future reference for them, right? So they know the process. They know this is what it takes. So they're not thinking that they're getting brushed off. They're not thinking that they're being talked down to. So that's it. Listen, follow through, and hopefully do an action that achieves a good goal.
Jody?
Okay. I think it's first important to note that as a mother of children in the district, listen, I get it. We can become very heated when our babies are concerned. And so I do have empathy toward that, because I've been there. I've been that parent that has come to the board over and over and over again and advocated. And the difference then versus the difference now is that I worked with the community back then to make sure that my needs were met. And they weren't necessarily willing or able to hear it at that point. Currently, what we try to do is we listen to all perspectives, and we try to make a decision that is in the best interest of our community at large. It may not always be what your child wants. It may not always be what my child wants. But we make decisions that are in the best interest of the community at large while following the laws. When questions are brought to us, we make an effort to obtain answers. Like I said just last night, I took notes. I wrote that question down, and I forwarded it. And we always try to follow up. I guess that's it. Thank you.
Anything? Matthew?
Yes, so I do always appreciate when parents do come to board meetings and express their concerns. I think it is important. However, it's also important to note, depending on what those concerns are, is how it's going to be resolved or taken from there. Most student-specific concerns, and there are a lot of student-specific concerns, don't start with the Board of Education or the superintendent of schools. They start on the building level. And it's important, and I think we've made an effort to direct people accordingly, to say, did you speak to your teacher? If not the teacher, guidance, principal, and go from there. To make sure that you're getting the response from the correct individual, because I think that's really important. If you're coming to a board meeting with a student concern, again, it's something we listen to, we hear, we do follow up on to make sure that it's being addressed, but most of those concerns are going to be addressed at the closest level to that student. And I think that's really important, that it is that level that is communicating with both the parent and the child.
Rosario?
Yes, the way that I will handle that type of situation on myself, I will be, first of all, respectful. The first thing I will do is listen. Listen is very important. I will not disrupt what you're trying to tell me or explain what your concerns are without even you ending what your question. That's the first thing. I will listen, and I will try to solve or come up with an answer. Let's be creative. We're not amateurs, we're parents. We also have to deal day by day situations at home. Then we have to be creative if we have issues coming. So if we see a parent, no matter how angry a parent can be, we have to know how to handle the situation. It has to be someone who is a bigger person in the room. And I believe that we have to put the parent's place and understand where he's coming from, because I know we concern about our children's education, and this is very important for us. And as a parent, we should be respected and we should be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy, we'll begin with you. What is your understanding of how diversity, equity, and inclusion is implemented or can be implemented in the curriculum?
Can you repeat that again?
Okay. What is your understanding of how diversity, equity, and inclusion is implemented or can be implemented in the curriculum?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. If there's no cookie cutter answer for that. We are a diverse community. I believe in equality, and I believe in including everybody. But I do not believe we're systemically racist in this community. I believe we're a fair community. We're a diverse community, we're a beautiful community, and where it fits in the schools, I think a lot of this should come from home. It should be parental.
Okay. Thank you. Jensen?
So, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in his famous speech said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Does that sound like where the district's curriculum is heading? And what are we teaching our children now? Diversity today is not putting something in a textbook and then high-fiving each other because we solved the problem. We actually have to live it. This has to be started at home. It has to be started on school boards. It has to be started everywhere in our community. Equity as a value is providing resources so everyone can take advantage of the same opportunity. And that's a great thing. Equity that's being pushed today, unfortunately, is the equivalent of participation trophies, where merit and self-determination are not a factor in your success. This is not sustainable. I'd like to provide equality, where a group or individual has the same opportunity to achieve success based on their merit. There was a book by Angela Duckworth called Grit, where it deals with passion and perseverance. That's what we should be supporting for our students: passion and perseverance, merit. That's what makes a great school. Thank you.
Please, let's just wait to the end and give everyone the applause they all deserve. Thank you, I appreciate that.
So,
Jody?
yeah, sure. So I think that DEI is extraordinarily important when we look at what it actually means. Diversity is celebrating the many different races and cultures and religions and those from every background that live in our very rich and very diverse community. Equity involves making sure that every person is given what they need to succeed. What my child needs to succeed may not be what your child needs to succeed. And it involves meeting the needs of all of the children as they develop and as they grow. Inclusion means making sure that everyone has a place. My child needs to have a place, your child needs to have a place. Whether that's educational, social, emotional, making sure that no one is excluded for any aspect of their identity. I think that's done at the macro and the micro level. We do that by having school assemblies. We do that by making sure that when a child walks into a school, they see things that represent them, that reflect who their identity is. I think that it's important. We can do that through when there are greater needs. We can do that through small group counseling when needed. It's done at all levels. And we want to make sure that every child feels appreciated and valued and welcome. And every child should make sure that they belong to their school and their school belongs to them. That's what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew?
Thank you. When my wife and I decided to move to East Meadow, one of the things that drew us to this community was its diversity. I grew up on Long Island. Long Island is not known for its diversity within its communities. I grew up in one that was not very diverse. We didn't want that for our children. We wanted our children to grow up learning about different people and cultures, and that was important to us and continues to be important to us. And I think East Meadow is absolutely that. Just to build on what Dr. Luce was saying, equity is different from equality, right? Every student doesn't need the same thing. I have a twin brother. We do not learn the same ways. What he needed in his education was different from what I needed in my education. And our teachers in this district, who are absolutely phenomenal, are given that ability to work with each child to give them what they need to succeed. And that's really what this district is about, is giving each child what they need to be able to succeed. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Rosario.
Talking about diversity, look at me. I incorporate culture, a little bit of my experiences, my background, my accomplishments, and I'm very proud of. My family is very proud of too. I am not a first generation, but let me explain to you what is the difference between equality and equity. Well, equality in education is necessary that students should have the same educational opportunities to start off with positive educational outcomes. And equity helps to make sure those equal opportunities are adjusted to make room for students who might need extra help. That's what I have understood between equity and equality. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion have become a catchphrase recently due to social reforms, but this really started in 1964 with the implementation of the Civil Rights Act. So diversity, equity, and inclusion have been around for quite a long time. All public school districts strive to prepare students for being productive members of an ever-increasing global society. DEI is important for schools because they work with learners of all different backgrounds. All children need to feel valued and affirmed, and educators and everyone who works with them should adopt these values by exploring and honoring differences. So the key point is exploring and honoring differences. We're all a part of one East Meadow community, and by celebrating and honoring each other's diverse backgrounds, we should encourage all students to embrace, not be embarrassed of their heritage, through acceptance, empathy, and kindness.
Okay, thank you. This will be our last question. What positive change can you bring to all East Meadow schools and the school district, and why should they vote for you as anyone else? These are questions that were brought to me from all of you on the cards that were given out to you. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Excuse me, you have to understand there were many questions that were presented. Some of them were duplicates of other questions. Excuse me. We're doing our best. So can we continue, please? Thank you. What positive change can you bring to all the East Meadow schools in the district, and why should they vote for you?
Thank you.
I'm starting. You're starting? I don't remember.
I'm sorry.
Jensen, we'll start all the way down, and then we reverse.
Okay.
Closing.
So I want to be a parent advocate on the board, and the message is simple. Parents should have the right to direct the upbringing, education, care, medical decisions, and mental health decisions of their child. We're seeing an erosion of this. Parents should be at the forefront. They should have, I know parents are on the board, but we need an advocate for every parent's voice, and there should be discussion. And I'd bring that discussion to the board Typically, there's no discussion for any issues on the board, and there should be an increased discussion on most issues. And so decision-making is increased when there's actually two differing opinions and you come to a resolution. The second is raising student achievement. This is a place for all kids to excel, and we can make our district one of the best. And I'd like to bring a level of accountability. You know, if policies are set, and I think we have some good policies, there should be the ability to measure progress or indicators that the policy goals are being met. It shouldn't just be on paper. It should be, how are we measuring this? Is it data-driven? High-achieving school boards have data to back up their policies, to back up, say, okay, we've reached this goal, we've reached this metric. Currently, I don't see that. I don't have that, so I would bring that to our district.
Thank you. Jody?
Yes, I think, listen, we are wading through some very challenging times. And I want to make sure that we're continuing to focus on our children. I want to make sure that we're continuing our long-term planning. We undertook a BOCES study so that we can try to predict where the needs are going to be and that we can continue to meet the needs of our expanding population. I want to continue to advocate for full funding. In the current year, we're in the second year where Governor Hochul has agreed to fully fund our foundation aid, so we have one more year of that. However, the current foundation and formula does not reflect the needs of many New York communities, and it's not properly balanced. So I plan to continue to advocate for the aid formula to be revised. Without it, we need to find the money to continue our programs. I want to continue to focus on improving college and career readiness programs. I want to continue to focus on meeting the needs of our early students when they are struggling to make gains. I want to continue to advocate for expanded use of our bus routes where permissible, advocating with New York State School Board Association to lobby the state to allow us to reinstate our pilot program. And yes, ongoing assessment of progress should continue. When we are not meeting our goals, I agree, Jensen, it's important that we assess our ongoing progress and our goals. I think it's important that you vote for people who have experience, who are educators, who have intimate knowledge of our school systems. Thank you.
Matthew?
Thank you. So my background or my undergraduate degree is in accounting. So I am a numbers guy by upbringing, I guess. And I think that's served very well for many reasons across this district. One is financially in doing the budget, but additionally, I am data-driven as well. And I can say that one of my favorite presentations each year is the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, who comes to the board at a board meeting in front of everyone and now streamed as well, and provides exactly that data, what the goals are, how each student group within our district is getting towards those goals and where the shortfalls are, and then exactly how are we going to address those moving forward. That's incredibly important and something that has been underway for the last 5 years and has changed the way that this district is able to work with and help the students who need help in our district, which is of utmost importance. I believe I bring that to the board and to this district. I think over the last 6 years that I've proven that I can provide positive change for this district and move it forward. We're never going to be a perfect district because you know what? Doesn't exist. There's always better that any district can do, and we're going to continue doing that work.
Thank you. Rosario?
I have the chance to get back to my community where my children grew up. This is a community service that all we should do. This opportunity crossed my path, and I'm taking it. I will bring experience and background, and also I have demonstrated that with perseverance, we can tackle and resolve any current or future issues with integrity. I just want to mention, not just that, I have a great set of skills. I am a genuine person. I am a great listener. I have effective communication. I can work as a team. I can adapt. I'm always willing to learn. I am creative. I'm bilingual. Sorry. I can acknowledge and validate hard work. That's one of my biggest help that I will bring to the board. I believe, right? I would like to ensure the short-term, medium, and long-term success to the district. I will be a strong advocate of a true board parent-taxpayer collaboration to find the better way. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon?
My main goal is to listen and to be a voice for parents, teachers, students, in order to better serve our diverse community. I speak 5 languages, I've traveled to 10 countries, over 4 continents, and I want to leverage my unique experiences and perspectives to encourage inclusivity and better communication in our community. An issue that has many parents concerned is the lack of important life skills, including problem solving, decision making. Social media and technology to a certain extent have made these a lost art, and we need to engage students and parents alike to expand the teaching of these important life skills. I also want to support and ensure the success of all students by focusing on the students' social and emotional learning and health, especially with the impact of the last 2 years. As a resident and taxpayer, I'm committed to prudently managing the tax dollars that are designated for our district and education. In order to be prepared for the future growth of our community, sound financial decisions are needed to ensure that advancements in technology are utilized in appropriate proportions to enhance our student learning.
Thank you. Nancy?
As almost a lifelong member of East Meadow, I love this district. I love the schools. I love what they did for me, and I love what they did for my children. I would love to see it continue. We have much to offer, but one of the things we need to do, as we've said before, is we need to listen, and I want to be your voice. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you want from us if I become your board member. I'd like the best that we can do as far as our high school graduates. I'd like to see the numbers get better. I know they can. It's been hard the past couple of years with the pandemic, but with parents and teachers and our administration and the Board of Education working together, we can be in the top. There's no reason why we can't be in the top. And I really want to represent you, and I want to listen to you, and I will always be here to hear what you have to say.
Okay, thank you. And now we will have closing statements. We will begin with Nancy. A 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you for attending our candidates forum. I believe our children are our most valuable resource. President John F. Kennedy said, "The goal of education is the advancement of knowledge and the dissemination of truth." Our children need our guidance and should be taught how to think, not what to think. Let's give those young minds every tool available to be able to make decisions and believe they can be and will be successful. When elected, I promise to work for you and your children's educations and to be responsive to our taxpayers. I will listen to all parents expressing their concerns about family values and this educational system. I will hear you. When you have a concern, reach out. I'll get back to you. I might not have all the answers immediately, but those out there who know me know that I am relentless, and I will find an answer when confronted with a problem. I will be your voice of reason, and I will not rest until this board acts responsibly for the benefit of all our children and the families that make up this great community we call East Meadow. I hope you will support the team of Widman, Amberton, and Symes. We promise full transparency, and we will forge community partnerships which have been broken by the current board. We are all in this together, and don't we owe it to our children to get it right? Now the decision as to how to vote is yours. You can either vote for business as usual or real change. You have the choice to vote for fresh new ideas and a much-needed alternative. Vote for Nancy Widman, ballot position 5, Jensen Ambition, ballot position 2, Rosario Symes, ballot position 4. Together, we will work for East Meadow and our children. In closing, once again, let's teach our children how to think, not what to think, and they'll thank us one day.
Thank you. Sharon?
As a parent, a teacher, and an active member of many organizations, I believe I bring a unique experiences and dedication to serving my East Meadow community. I recognize that our children are our future. Setting them up to be well-rounded, educated, and critical thinkers is now more important than ever in this age of globalization and growing competition. I was appointed as a trustee on the board in January this year. Over the past 4 months, I have listened to teachers, administrators, and many other parents discuss their concerns, and it has certainly been a growing and rewarding experience for me. I am, however, first and foremost, keen on supporting necessary spending for our students while furthering communication and transparency to establish public trust and fiscal responsibility. I am committed to helping our students achieve higher standards in education and receive the support they need to grow and thrive in the fields of their choice, with the goal that they grow up to become productive members of society and recognize the importance of giving back to the East Meadow community that enable them to grow and become successful adults. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to answer your questions tonight and demonstrate all of the reasons that make me a distinctly qualified candidate deserving of your vote on May 17th. Thank you.
Thank you. Rosario?
Our children are the future of our country, and we should take their education and social development very seriously. I will strongly advocate promoting a safety environment in our schools. The current board is not properly represented in hearing to parents' concerns or including parents' participation effectively. Neglecting or dismissing your interests or viewpoints are wrong. I would love to establish a strong communication, structure-based and mutual respect, working as a team between school board members, school administrators, teachers, and parents are extremely important. Parents and taxpayers, if you elect me, I will strongly advocate for real transparency at school board meetings. Our community deserves it. You deserve it. Collaboration between board members, parents, and taxpayers set as an example for our children. Let's not infiltrate surveys that will disturb our children's integrity or mental health. Embracing values like loyalty, compassion, honesty, and kindness in our children's life are essential for growth and development. The current board is not providing enough counseling or confidential assemblies into our district. On the contrary, they try to disrupt our personal values. Why aren't we competitive? Why? If we have excellent staff and great resources, does this current board consider this fact as a problem? I am not sure about that. Not recognizing weaknesses and deficiencies in our current program is a tremendous problem. I want to dedicate my time exhausting every resource possible to implement our schools with better material and staff to reach success. I want to work with parents and staff to find a possible solution for the betterment of students. I believe I have enough reasons to run for the school board. I am running with my two friends, Nancy Widman and Jensen Ambition. Again, my name is Rosario Symes. Election day is Tuesday, May 17. Change is in your hands. Thank you for your time and have a good night. Have a great night.
Matthew?
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you again to the PTA Council, the League of Women Voters, and the library for hosting tonight's forum. I'd also like to thank the community for trusting in me these past 6 years to improve the educational achievement and positive outcomes for our students while bringing financial responsibility and transparency to the forefront of this district. I have 3 children in the schools, the youngest of which is just finishing kindergarten. As such, I have a vested interest in making sure that this district is offering the best possible education for our students. And furthermore, as your neighbor and fellow taxpayer, I also want to make sure that this is being accomplished in a fiscally responsible manner with transparency and accountability. When I initially ran for the board, and still to this day, I did this for the children of our community. And I think that the most important thing has been the push to make sure that each child in our community receives the tools they need to be successful. I believe that with the support and cooperation of the entire community, our district has made great strides, and I'm proud to be a member of the board that has brought about these positive changes. Tonight, I ask for your vote to allow me to continue this important work of representing you and providing the best interest of our children and taxpayers of our community.
Thank you. Jody?
I'd like to thank you all for attending and listening. We continue to navigate this complicated time while making sure that our focus remains solely with our most important resource, our children. I ask you to look past all of the noise and to ensure that you vote for those who truly understand the job, who understand that we must follow our state laws and mandates, be fiscally responsible, and understand education. I bring experience as an educator with knowledge of school systems and education law and budgets. In closing, I'd like to review some of our accomplishments during my tenure on the board. Fulfilling our one-to-one device initiative at an accelerated pace, navigating through unprecedented times while ensuring ongoing education for our children, ensuring that both high schools have multi-use turf fields, expanding our programs to meet the increasing mental health needs of our students, developing a proposition for a community vote that allows the much-needed expansion of McVeigh while not costing the taxpayers further money, expansion of many educational programs, including special education, AP, other college programs, as well as career prep and dual enrollment career prep programs. Ensuring competitive pay so that we continue to attract the region's top educators. Continued improvement of transparency and communication. Completion of the bond initiative, allowing for much needed improvement to our facilities and infrastructure. Ongoing support of all of our students, regardless of need or background. We continue to work for the needs of our children and taxpayers in this wonderful community, regardless of where in the community you live. As a result, our academic standing continues to improve and thrive, ensuring that your tax dollars are doing their best work. And we will listen and work with the community to work beyond these challenging times. Thank you again to the PTA Council and to the League of Women Voters. Please vote on May 17th.
Yes. Jensen?
Thank you. This evening, I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk to you about our positions and the contributions I will bring to the school board. A high-achieving school district starts with a high-achieving school board. We can get there by 1, a strong collaboration with our parents, community, and staff. 2, developing a plan for increased student achievement. And 3, leading from the front with new ideas and initiatives that benefit our students and community as a whole. Momentum can come by 2 ways, either getting dragged along or by leading. It's time to lead. We are at a critical time in our district's history on education, and we don't have time for more of the same. I can bring a fresh perspective here and will not blindly follow along without first answering the question, is it best for our children? A good school board treats its parents and community as valued clients, anticipating needs and helping the community grow. Change in the district should not come about only through complaints, but through forward thinking and leadership. I hope you share this vision for a brighter future for our district and will vote for me, Jensen Albachin, and the 2 other candidates who stand for change, Nancy Widman and Rosario Symes. Thank you.
At this point, we would like to thank all the candidates. And I also want to thank all of you for coming out, and for those of you that are watching, it's very important. Remember, 3 seats on voting on May 17th. And also, from the League of Women Voters, we have available, if you're interested, our brochure, They Represent You, which gives you the list of every elected official, and if you want to contact them in any way, all the information is here. We thank you. Remember, go out and vote, and have a good evening.